Welcome to episode fucking 20 of the Accidental Sportswashing podcast, motherfuckers. Episode 20. You heard me right. I'd like to welcome back Josh and Ethan for another episode.
Yo.
What's up?
And yeah, I mean, just before we start off, I truly am thankful for every one of you guys. This is like 20 weeks of fucking episodes is absolutely fucking nutty. Like that's like we're nearing half a year of episodes. We're not that close, but we're getting close. But yeah, man, it's
like 6 weeks off. Till we get halfway through.
Yeah, something like that. But that yeah, about a month and a half. But still, it's fucking insane. But yeah, dive right into it. It's wild card week, man. Seahawks and 49ers. I really thought the Seahawks are gonna be in it. I said they were gonna be the one team. If any team does out of the NFC does beat them, it would be the Seahawks. And they failed in the second half.
Not go to plan.
They just fucking folded.
Yeah.
Okay, so with the Seahawks, I think they've only played one good quarter that entire game, and that was the second quarter. And then after that, they just completely fell apart. They couldn't really get the ball going. The 49ers just completely just ran over them. McCaffrey had like 119 yards. Brock Purdy had I think
yeah, he had 300.
He was balling the fuck out for
he went on
most
18
of the game.
for 30 on 332 yards and 3 touchdowns and a rushing touchdown.
Yeah.
I mean, I literally just wrote an article about them, publish it, well, when this is published, it's going to be yesterday. But, you know, Brock Purdy, more like pure baller. Bars.
The hype that he's getting is a bit overboard, I feel like, to some extent.
For sure.
But he was dominant for most of the second half.
Yeah, but
I mean,
he could have gone like 4 touchdowns actually if I caught that ball. But
I mean, like obviously he's not asked to do a lot, but what he's been asked to do, he's been able to do perfectly well. And I mean, like the 49ers, like you just look up and down their roster, they have like a star at like literally every position on both sides of the ball.
And most importantly, they're healthy.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, so, but before we move on, how do we feel? Because I already know how I feel. You guys already know how I feel. I published literally an article about this. But how do you guys feel about next year? Obviously, we know Jimmy G is probably not going to be there. But so, what are you doing next year with Jimmy G and Brock Purdy and Trey Lance?
I'd say, okay, so like if the 49ers, like let's say, get to the Super Bowl or win the Super Bowl, I'd say they're going to trade Trey Lance somehow.
I don't see a scenario that they end up trading Trey Lance unless they win the Super Bowl and you look at it as like, which again I don't see this happening, but and you look at the Super Bowl run as like, oh, it was Brock Purdy that won them the Super Bowl. I don't see a way how they can move on from the 3rd overall pick that they traded up like a crazy
2 first rounders and a 3rd rounder. And not to mention the money they gave him. It's like
just a crazy haul to go up and get the 3rd overall pick and draft their guy. I just don't see them because again, like it hasn't even been like last year he sat behind a solid starter in Jimmy G, exactly. And then this year they thought they thought he was going to play this entire year. He just got hurt. Yeah. Like I really just don't see a scenario that they move on this quickly. I think at the very least he'll be given a chance to compete.
Just to build on what Ethan said, I think you have to go into next year, even if, like Ethan said, unless he plays like this every damn game, and even then, I'm still because think about it, if Brock Purdy, the last pick of the NFL draft, can do this, imagine what Trey Lance can do in this offense. Like, sure, Brock Purdy is some level talented, but Trey Lance can be damn good in this league. And you know, he needs a good situation, and luckily he's in probably the perfect situation for a young quarterback. So unless he plays out of his mind on this playoff run, has like a 2019 Kawhi playoff run, I feel like it's wrong to start Brock Purdy next year.
I feel like the preseason is going to matter a lot in this situation.
Yeah, battling, kind of bouncing off with what Dre said. I think at the very least, and Brock Purdy has to like win the job over Trey Lance like in preseason, as Josh said as well.
Yeah. Wow, that caught me off guard. But moving on to the other side of the game, you had the Jaguars, man. My boy Trevor Lawrence. Fuck all the haters, Fuck, we bounced back. Most of those picks were in the NFL. Suck my fucking dick. Duval in the house, bitches. Travis Etienne, fucking 109 yards, man. Yo, where's the Justin Herbert slander? I have not seen enough Justin Herbert slander. I need to see.
I mean, is it all his fault?
It's not all his fault, but if you're being the team
you
by
can't really
that
blow a
much,
27-0 lead. Yeah.
And you manage to score 3 fucking points, some of it is definitely your fault. If you're the franchise quarterback, you have to be prepared to take some of that blame. Because that's some damn bullshit. Why are you scoring 3 points? You score literally one more point and you win. Or you at least tie. You get your team in the field goal range. You make a play with your arm, with your legs. You get your team in field goal range, you probably win the game. But, no.
Yeah, it's not a good look for him. Also, they need to change their coaching staff up.
Oh yeah.
Like I know they fired their offensive coordinator, but they also need to get rid of Brandon Staley.
Yeah, it's absolutely hilarious.
Their play calling is just not good, straight up.
Yeah, and like I'm not like obviously the play calling was never great. Was like never like Staley's calling card. But like you look at like last year and to this year, there was just such like a mentality change with Brendan Staley like for the worse. Like last year, like obviously he was marketed as like this new thinking, like new age coach that would like and to some degree like he did like show that in the games, but then like just from the beginning this year there was such like a feeling that like he was so much more like conservative in his like decision making, and then like playing Mike Williams and playing all the starters.
Oh yeah, that was just
disgusting. That might have cost them that entire game.
Yeah, like you like literally like you look like 3 points in the second half. Like I don't know if that happens if they have Mike Williams.
Yeah, but yeah, what's the name? That was just fucking hilarious to watch go down. They fucking deserved it. But moving on, the Dolphins and Bills, man. Shout out to Skyler. What's his Thompson, right?
Thompson.
Yeah. Shout out to him. He played much better. Even though I bet on it on the under and passing yards, I'm still gonna respect the hustle. The Bills.
So this is one of those games where I told you that Josh Allen's style could really hurt them in the postseason, where it's like he could give you those like 3-4 big time throws, but like that'll come at the expense of like having like 2 turnover worthy plays. And against like a better quality team, a team that doesn't fumble the ball twice and throw 2 interceptions, I feel like that could really hurt the Bills. But also some of these interceptions were a bit unlucky, so I'm not entirely like sure what to think of it in a way.
Yeah. I mean, if they keep playing like this, like, and the funniest part about it is I see the fans are so cocky against the Bengals. Like, I wouldn't be talking all that shit if I were you. You almost lost to the Skylar Thompson-led Dolphins.
And, like, the Dolphins had, like, 3 to 4 turnovers that game. So,
yeah, like, Skylar Thompson did not play well, like, at all. Like he did his best in the situation that he could, but like I'm still like kind of to this day like kind of confused on how the Dolphins managed to put up 31 points. Like it just doesn't feel like it did kind of feel like it felt like both teams were sloppy, but it felt like that the Bills' talent would like win out a little bit, but both teams' sloppiness just kind of took precedent. And led to a sloppy game all around.
Yeah, I mean, but moving on, my New York fucking Giants won a fucking playoff game, bitches! Woo! Sorry for the ear rape, but bro, dude, I swear to God, if we lost that game that game went to overtime because of that bullshit ass roughing the passer call, I would just, oh wow, that would have been the bane of my fucking existence. But what a fucking game, man.
Yeah, but obviously, and then also the Darius Slayton drop. That would have been bad
tough.
too.
That drop really hurt.
Can we talk about how good Isaiah Hodgins and TJ Hawkinson were just absolutely nutty this game?
Yeah, I mean, like Isaiah Hodgins, like low key, might have had the best, like maybe not the best, but had like one of the best receiving performances in the playoffs so far.
Oh yeah, and Daniel Jones easily had one of the best debuts for a quarterback ever. Led the game in rushing.
His rushing presence this game was obscene. Like some of the things that he did against that, and to be fair, that Vikings defense is appalling. Oh, yeah. I think that was very clear early on, but having 78 rushing yards and 301 passing yards is pretty absurd.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, but also highlights the Giants' need for linebackers, because holy shit. At least we were able to contain Justin Jefferson. I really congratulate Greg Roman for being able to scheme to that. But TJ Hawkinson ate us alive. Like, Hawk fucking killed us. But yeah, I can't explain how happy I was. Like I when there was a roughing passer called, like I genuinely ripped my t-shirt and started chewing on it Frank Fleming style. Like, oh my god, I was ready to fly to Minnesota. Just do some horrible shit. But moving on.
I mean, I've seen it become like a big discussion on like Twitter about, like, obviously it was prior, but that was like the next installment on like what should be a fair roughing the passer call going
I think if it's either A, just like if you're like running at the quarterback and you jump at him, or like something like unnecessary, or the quarterback, you know, he already threw the ball before, like you.
I mean, the thing with Dexter is he literally didn't do anything like extra with Kurt. Like I there was the slight helmet hit, but he was clearly going into to tackle him, and like he did kind of throw him, but it was like the only like real way, and like he really did put him down like gently to some extent.
Like you should have fucking kissed him on the head and tucked him into fucking bed. Like, Jesus.
And speaking of Kirk Cousins,
that unsportsmanlike conduct if he did that.
Oh yeah, Kirk. Yikes.
That check down on fourth down is like one of the worst.
Season. Fucking hilarious, man.
He didn't play too bad this game. It's
just got
that one play.
He was very good this game, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
That was bad, but
I think that was the epitome of Kirk Cousins' career.
Should have been. Yeah, but like at the same time, like the score was 31-24, which like it appears like a high scoring game, but both offenses really did dominate. Like they like more than the score would say.
For sure.
They just had like really long possessions. Like the Giants punted twice.
And I think the Giants. I forget which possession it was, but one of the scoring possessions we had like a 10-minute drive. I think it was in the third quarter. That's when we scored in the third quarter. It was just a nasty 10-minute drive, just running, quick passes, like that was beautiful, man. But moving on.
Yeah, I like that.
Moving on, we have the Bengals over the Ravens. The Bengals, another team that were saved by Sam Hubbard's fucking 98-yard fumble recovery for a touchdown, man. That was
one of the most bizarre things.
Watching that game was actually fucking insane, man. Like I can't say how, like, that was one of the most interesting games. I can't say fun or exciting, but it was one of the most interesting games I've ever watched.
I completely, like, understand what the Ravens were trying to do. You know, like, run the ball a lot, shoot a lot of the clock. But, I mean, they just got unlucky on a lot of occasions, and they had some really questionable play calling late in the game. And I think that kind of built them out. I don't know, like, I was seeing my timeline after this game, and so many Ravens fans were so pissed about Greg Roman. And, like, I completely get it to an extent. Like, I understand what he was trying to do, but, like, some of the things that he was doing were also just flat out inexcusable.
And I also think it's disgusting at this point that across the world we have, like, in soccer you have VAR and And even they shouldn't probably implement this hockey, but I don't feel like it's as big as an issue. But there's no reason why we don't have technology up and down NFL fields to have a line to actually have a sensor say, hey, the ball crossed the plane at this time. And then you can match that up with the time the runner went down. It's just stupid. Like, the fact that we're relying on middle-aged men or women too, because now, middle-aged men and women.
Middle-aged people.
Exactly, standing like 10 yards away from the play. And then you have to go to instant replay, which you can't really see sometimes. So it's like, why the fuck isn't it? Just put a sensor in the ball, put a sensor up and down the sidelines, and set it. It's so fucking stupid. But yes, I am also very happy for Ravens fans that Greg Roman is fucking gone, and that what's the name? They're trying to involve Lamar in the new OC search. So I mean, that's a good sign for them.
Here's just Lamar will be back.
Hopefully, yes. Hopefully. But and then moving on to the one game I didn't watch. Why the fuck did Tom Brady throw the ball 66 times?
Yeah, it was just down most of the game.
They threw the ball so much.
Yeah,
they were just.
I guess playoff Lenny did not show up. That was fucking hilarious because that's the one thing I saw. Playoff, he was with the fucking t-shirt and he put up like 10 yards.
I mean,
oh my god,
they fell behind like really early, so it makes sense that they threw the ball a lot,
but trying to catch up. Man.
But
the thing is like the Cowboys just straight up didn't budge. They just kept scoring. They kept driving down the field. This is like arguably Dak Prescott's best game.
Yeah,
like I'd go as far as say it.
So playoff Lenny had 5 carries for 11 yards and like Jesus fucking Christ. That's absolutely just despicable, man.
Their run game.
Hey,
is so
at least
bad.
Julio finally showed up. 7 receptions for 74 yards. But holy fuck, going 35 for 66 is absolutely insane. Like, 66 passes and you barely break 350. Like, Dak went 25 for 35 with 305 yards. Like, just to put that in perspective, he had less attempts than Brady did had completions and only had like 44 less yards.
Yeah, it's not a good look on Brady.
But
he had a lot of just very ugly
drives
drives
all year.
Yeah.
Like they really like I really don't know why people like I get it's Brady, but like I really don't know why
the Cowboys. Honestly, that was it.
I mean that, and also just the track record that the Cowboys have against Brady is really bad. Before this game, they were like 0-7 against Brady.
But
like, at the same time, it's just like it's hard for me to like take like there's completely different like scenarios like for that, and I. Like, this Bucs team was just not good this year. Like, they went...
Yeah, it's not a good team.
It's only because they were playing in one of the worst divisions in the past, in the NFL in the past, like, 10, 15 years. That's the only reason why they're in the playoffs. But big fucking shout-out to this piece of shit Ezekiel Elliott, where you're not going without hate. I don't care if your fucking team won. 13 carries for 27 yards. Dak had 7 carries and 24 yards. Fuck you. Fuck you, Ezekiel Elliott. You're going to burn.
Also, Tom Brady has a worse career playoff passer rating than Tim Tebow.
That's
actually true.
I mean, I think that also points out kind of the flaws of the stat at the same time.
Yeah, but it's like, that's kind of funny.
Yeah. All right, so this week, man, the divisional round, starting off, tomorrow, well, today when you guys get it. It's going to be tomorrow. It's going to be Saturday. But we have the Jaguars traveling to Arrowhead. The Chiefs are gonna have. What's the line? The line is 9. I don't know if it's gonna. It might be that bad because the Jags has been pretty disappointing.
Yeah, and I mean the Chiefs are just like really good. Like
so instead of that, what do we think about the over/under line? 53. Do we think? I think this game is gonna hit the over.
I think it's going to hit the over.
Yeah, I'll say like that's a lot of points. So I'll go with the over. It will be a high-scoring game.
Yeah. And not to mention, both defenses aren't like particularly great
at all.
So I would say it's going to be a pretty high-scoring game. So it's going to be very fun to watch. So I think that's a good thing.
Definitely.
Yeah, but This is good. I mean, if the Jaguars win, all shout out to them. But they're like kind of like in the same situation. Next game we're talking about with the Giants. This is a good way to you still have a flawed team, but you have talented quarterback, talented skill position players, talented coach, and that you can really build around and come back a lot stronger even next year. But in the next 2-3 years, you can start. You're gonna start to become contenders, and now you already have that playoff experience. You've played in the playoff environment at home, and now you're going into one of the hardest environments in all of sports. So I feel like this is good for them regardless. But moving into the to the late Saturday game, my fucking Giants versus the ones who shall not be named.
I kind of want to be optimistic, but I hate to.
Josh, your pick is already restricted.
I feel bad being optimistic after saying that the Chiefs are probably gonna not dismissing the Jaguars, but kind of saying that I expect the Chiefs to go in and win. So I feel bad about doing that and then being optimistic, but part of me just feels optimistic. I can't help it.
I mean, yeah.
No,
Josh, you already know what your pick is.
I know.
You have no voice
here.
But
we have to keep this alive.
The Eagles, of course.
The Giants, man. I mean, I think if the Giants are gonna win this game, they're gonna have to find a way to contain Jalen Hurts. That's the main. And I know it sounds stupid, but you're gonna have to fight a lot of cover one because you have a lot of weapons out there. You're going to have to find a way, not A.J. Brown as much, but how to shut down Devonta Smith. Because he's been fucking balling, and we really don't
have an absurd core of weapons around
and then
them.
That defense, man, you're going to, sure, Daniel was able to...
I expect the Giants to run a lot. I actually saw a stat that the Eagles are, not that this is kind of, probably, a small sample size or whatever, but the Eagles are, really low in EPA against... quarterback rushes. So, I mean,
we'll see. I just, I'm going to go into this same thing except with the Jaguars, You definitely have flaws on this damn team. But I feel like you're in a little bit better. I mean, maybe not because, I would take Trevor Lawrence over Daniel. But at the end of the day, you do have positions to improve of. You need another safety because Tony Jefferson isn't going to cut it. You definitely need some fucking linebackers because... that's been a problem there for years. You need some interior offensive line help, and you need a running back besides Saquon. If you keep Saquon, which they probably will, and you're gonna need another you need a true stud wide receiver one, whether that's through draft like Jackson Smith at Jigba, or DeAndre Hopkins or something like that. Isaiah Hodgins, he's good, but Richie James, they're good. But they can't be your running back. They can't be your 1 and 2 option. Maybe you're 2 and 3, maybe you're 3 and 4, but they can't be your 1 and 2. But moving into Sunday, you have Bengals, Bills, man. I am so fucking hyped for this game. What do you guys think?
I think it's gonna be very high scoring.
Oh yeah, sure.
Just like what we expected with the Monday night game before.
I mean, they only have the line at 49. They only have the line at 49. I think they're gonna blow past that.
I think Josh Allen's going to do really good, but he's going to have the same turnover issues that he had against the Dolphins.
Especially against the better Bengals defense,
And I think the interesting thing or the interesting question is going to be how the Bengals do in the red zone, because against the Ravens, they had a lot of issues converting stuff near the red zone. So I think that's going to be a big X factor into how they perform against the Bills. But I think it's going to be a very close game.
Yeah. I think it'll be a close game as well. Both teams coming off games that were probably that were definitely closer than they wanted them to be, but they managed to win, for lack of a better expression. You mentioned the Bengals having a hard time converting on certain downs and in the red zone. I think that's something that usually teams are able to correct just with some market correction, I guess. Usually stuff like that corrects itself over time. So, I mean, I think both of these teams are really good and should perform very well. But, I mean, we saw last week teams that they're clearly better than with backup with their starting QBs, much less their backup QBs, gave them a lot of problems. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, either way, I'm taking the Bengals line here because they have Buffalo favored by 5.5 points. I'm gonna take the Bengals line regardless, but you know, I think I would like the Bengals to win. Honestly, that's how I feel.
I think I could see that. I'd probably go with the Bills though, just because they're ridiculously talented.
Yeah. Well, I think honestly,
I
whoever
don't
wins
think
this
go
game,
wrong either way.
I mean, if the Bengals win this game, they're going to the Super Bowl. If the Bills win this game, I have the Chiefs going to the Super Bowl because the Bills.
I can see that.
The Bills and Chiefs both have shitty defenses, and the Chiefs just have the better offense. I think. You know, Mahomes is just that good. But moving on.
Yeah.
Then to close out divisional weekend, you have the Cowboys versus the Niners. Some may call it the Hispanic Civil War. I've been seeing tweets about this all week. It's absolutely fucking hilarious. But this is I think this is gonna be a better game than people think it is. I don't think the Cowboys are gonna get blown out like they say. But I feel like I think maybe this might be the game where we see Brock Purdy's flaws start to show. Even though he's not the Cowboys defense isn't the scariest, it's still not that bad. So, but I do think the 49ers will come out on top.
I think they're going to scrape through. I don't think Dak Prescott is going to score 5 touchdowns in the
fuck
game.
No.
Yeah, against the 49ers defense.
Yeah. So I think that's not going to happen. But I do think Brock Purdy is going to have some issues against that Dallas defense, especially when you have to deal with guys like Micah Parsons.
Yeah, he'll be under pressure more than he has been in the past, and it'll be interesting to see how he reacts to that.
Yeah, I mean...
So,
What was
you
that?
could go. No, you could go.
No, it's fine.
I was going to say, I think this is going to be somewhat low scoring in
Well, they have the line at 46.5.
So
lower... They might... Okay, I think that's pretty fair.
Yeah,
for the most part.
But I'm still not. I'm still not convinced the Cowboys. Like they've had good performances, but the Buccaneers are like we said, not that good. So give me the 49ers in this game, man.
Yeah, I think that's valid.
Yeah.
So I mean, then after that, it's really going to be interesting. So then the matchups, we'd have Chiefs-Bengals, which we played in Atlanta. Well, we can't really say that. We'll see. We'll save our predictions.
No, it would be played in Kansas City.
It would. I thought.
It's only if it's Bills Chiefs would it be played in Atlanta.
Oh, okay. All right.
Well, that would be pretty interesting. But,
yeah. All right. So moving on to
somewhat random. Yeah. Because I was gonna say there was this article that came out recently talking about how there's a strong chance that the NFL might make the championship games neutral ground, and I don't know what I think about that. I don't like that idea, honestly.
I'd have to think about it a bit more.
I think that kind of ruins the appeal of not only the season tickets, but just the idea of home field advantage.
I mean, I think they definitely make more money off of it because of partnership deals with probably the city wherever it's hosted. But that ruins, I think what you said is that ruins the point of getting the number 1 seed. Because if you get the number 1 seed, you have home field advantage until the Super Bowl. So I don't really like that because I feel if you play enough during the regular season, don't rest your start. Kind of like in the NBA. If you play throughout the whole season, you don't rest your starters, and you keep fighting for that number 1 spot, you deserve to have a bit of advantage in the playoffs. And if not, why not just coast for the 2nd and 3rd seed? You're still going to get home field ticket sales for 1 game, and then maybe even 2 games if you get the 2nd seed. And then no matter what, neither of you are getting the ticket revenue for the 3rd game. So, or you're not getting all of it. So I don't really like that.
Yeah, I mean, I could see them doing that if the game happens and it goes well, but I personally, for the reasons that you guys outlined, wouldn't be a huge fan of it.
But I think it's time to hop in just to award predictions for this season. We're getting pretty close, and we were supposed to make them last week, but we ran way over time. So starting off with the Big Kahuna, MVP. Who do you guys have? I think
Patrick
it's
Mahomes.
yeah.
I think it's Mahomes. I think
Mahomes.
he's the only real option at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Burrow was probably my number 2, but I don't. It's not that close to really be up for debate.
I mean, probably got to be Hurts number 2.
Even with the missed
Based
time,
off,
or
just based off the precedent that's been put in place.
I guess.
I mean, but I mean, you heard Mahomes got 49 out of the 50 first team or all pro votes. So I mean, if it's the same, maybe not the same exact voters, but it's the same like demographic of voters, I have a hard time seeing that Mahomes not winning.
yeah.
Yeah. Then moving on, you have offensive player of the year. It's Justin Jefferson.
I think that this,
wrong.
I mean, I could see a case being made for Tyreek, but I think Justin Jefferson's gonna win.
Yeah, I think that's pretty fair.
All right.
I think when you look at what Tyreek did for Tua, like maybe if Tua was healthy all year and like the Dolphins finished better, like if you look at like a lot of like the advanced stats, people like Tyreek this year, but I think like Justin Jefferson had better like box score stats. They hit better record,
And he has the insane volume.
Yeah, those things do matter to the voters, whether we think so or not. That's another debate. But I think Justin Jefferson is going to win Offensive Player of the Year, and I think he's perfectly deserving of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next, you have Defensive Player of the Year. Give me the racist man from San Fran, Nick Bosa.
For a while, I was going to say Micah Parsons, but like I think
So the racist or the rapist?
trying to a
Which one do you
point
want?
where Bosa's probably going to win it. And at this point, it's probably deserved because the 49ers have, like, I think pretty clearly the best defense in the league, and he's having an insane season, just, like, gaining sacks and pressures and everything. So, yeah, he's my guy.
Yeah. And I think, like, especially in, like in run defense, Bosa beats Parsons and stuff. So I think it's going to be Bosa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's fair.
Then you have Offensive Rookie of the Year. You might have a jet sweep this year, but I don't think so. Give me Chris Olave, man. Even though they're both, like, it's Garrett Wilson and Olave. Then you could also have Kenneth Walker. But I think Kenneth Walker is third for me. Garrett Wilson had an amazing year. I would probably take him for the rest of the future. But this season alone, Garrett Wilson at least did have some pieces around him, Why, like... If you have the red fucking rifle as your starting quarterback, Michael Thomas is out for most of your. Alvin Kamara was really not that big of a factor this year, and when you're still able to put up numbers and find ways to gain and use your opportunity to the fullest and still put up really good stats for a rookie, I have to give it to you because although you might look at their stats, and see them as kind of equals, and you may give Wilson the edge. Just because of outstanding factors, give me Olave.
Yeah.
I gotta go with Garrett Wilson personally.
I'm gonna go with Kenneth Walker.
What the fuck?
All right, we have three different candidates.
Well, I'm gonna be right. So
I
that's all that
think
matters.
they're all three pretty valid.
Oh yeah,
so.
yeah.
I
mean, they all deserve. That's the thing.
Olave, but yeah. This
is like the one thing to appreciate. This has been one of the best draft classes in a damn long time. You have players from, like, even Trayvon hasn't been that bad. Like, let's stop with the bullshit. Trayvon hasn't been that bad. Kayvon has
and he was a project anyways.
Yeah, exactly. Hutchinson really picked it up over the season. Kayvon is definitely a top 10 rookie this year. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. He was certainly a top 10 rookie this year. But you have guys up and down the board who just balled out. Fucking Mr. Irrelevant. He's leading probably the best team in the NFL right now. So, I mean, this is going to go down to one of the best draft classes in NFL history. And it, like, Sauce, I feel, can we already say just Sauce is our defensive rookie of the year? Woolen had an amazing year.
I think he was the best. He was the best in his position this year.
Yeah, I'd have him top two. Like, like it's just beautiful to see so much young talent being injected into the league and just being amazing so fast. Especially at the position I like cornerback where we've seen guys like J.C. Horn. Well, J.C. Horn was good. J.C. Horn, Okuda, and other guys.
It takes time.
Horn is, start slow, but he was just fucking. He was been a dog since day fucking one, going at it, and a down year for cornerbacks. So I really love that. New talent always helps the game, and I think that's what also helped the NFL in general this year, the amount of parity we had, because it was really nice to see. Like, this was a really refreshing season of football compared to what we usually get in the NBA and other major professional sports,
Yeah. Definitely a shout out to both Tariq Woolen and Aiden Hutchinson in regards for having great defensive rookie of the years.
Kayvon finished strong too. I'm a bit of a homer, but Kayvon finished real strong, so shout out to Kayvon.
Yeah. I definitely think Tariq and, at least for this year, Tariq and Hutchinson will probably come second and third.
Yeah.
But, Sauce, probably best corner in the league already, in my opinion. Is that I don't know if you guys think that's a crazy take.
I don't know if he's the best. I just can't say he's the best based off 1 year. Maybe this season, but I can't say he's the best because I need to see a level of sustainability. But
that's fair enough. I just personally look at it, as you've mentioned, that corner is one of the hardest positions to come from college, and we see high, like you mentioned, like Jeff Okuda. He was a guy that like took a little bit to break out and become a solid player. I just look at what Sauce did as a rookie, and I just don't really see a way how he doesn't really keep this up.
That's fair.
In my opinion, I think he is the best corner in the league already.
I can respect that.
I'm not even like a Jets fan, but
yeah.
I don't want to go that far, but I think he's definitely top 3 right now, just off this season alone.
All right, so moving on to, I'm not sure, but I have my answer. But I might be a bit biased, but for comeback player of the year, who do you guys think? I have my pick.
I think who's gonna win is probably gonna be Geno, just based off like what I've seen and stuff. I can see the argument against Geno of people saying, like what did he really come back from? He was just kind of a career journeyman and then just kind of broke out. But by definition, for comeback player of the year, it doesn't have to be from an injury or even one particular bad season. You can come back from poor performance. It just says dealing with adversity, and he's definitely dealt with that adversity. So I think it's probably going to be Geno. I think maybe Saquon fits the better, fits the definition for comeback player of the year more. I think both would be fine. There's other candidates that I'm forgetting about, but
shout out. You know what? I have to give a shout out to and I don't think he's gonna get enough love at all. But shout out Nick Gates, man. He came back.
Yeah, I was gonna say that because it's crazy that he's playing already in the playoffs and stuff.
He deserves to just I just hope he gets a vote or two because he's an offensive lineman. He didn't set the world on fire.
I think if you threw performance out the window, because I think people look at Saquon and even though it's supposed to be the best story, performance does matter a little bit.
Sure.
I think that if it was truly just the best story, I think Nick Gates would get more love. I just think that people view Saquon returning to his near his rookie year status, and Geno having this huge breakout year that we once hoped he would have, but just kind of never happening. He's just bouncing around the league as a backup. I think performance does play a part into the comeback player of the year, and that's why I think those are the two candidates most mentioned.
I rock with that.
Yeah, I also think it's a very narrative-driven award. It's which player has the better story, as we saw last year. I think when it comes to who has the better story this year, I think Geno probably has the best pick, because not only did he have a starting role, but he also completely broke out and played at a top 12 level for quarterback this season.
After being I know, and then he said it best himself. They wrote me off. I didn't write back though. And I know that's become a meme, but
it's real. It's real as fuck.
He was really thought for example, like I still remember like when Pete Carroll announced him as the starter over Drew Lock. Like I didn't even think that was like a remote possibility. I just penciled in Drew Lock as the starting quarterback for the Seahawks. And I mean, just like what he did this year, it was pretty good.
Yeah.
No way around it, you know.
So I mean that's a good discussion around, and so I mean I feel like we might all have the same, but I do pick for this last one, but I do feel like maybe like not cool. I mean that's cool with the dick riding a little bit, but coach of the year, Brian Daboll.
Yeah, it's Daboll.
It's like
I mean, I'm not sure he's gonna win because there's a historical precedent that like it's very rare that like a coach that gets less than like 10 wins coach of the year. I mean, he does seemingly have a strong like media narrative with him, but I think he definitely deserves it. Like,
oh yeah,
I feel very strongly about.
I think
that.
it should. I think for me, the top three is him, Shanahan, and But oh man, that's so hard because you still have Shanahan, you still have Sirianni, you still have Doug Peterson.
Yeah, I mean, I think Doug Peterson is a potential candidate, especially when you look again. I think Coach of the Year of any is also times very narrative driven. Sometimes it's just like what team overperforms and not actually like what the coaches did. And I'm not discrediting Doug Peterson. I think he's one of the best coaches in the league. I think that he does have a little bit of that narrative because of how the team turned itself around, starting out 3-7, and I believe, and then going on to win 9 games and make the playoffs on the last day of the season. But I think when you look at what Daboll did as a first-year head coach, and like people saw the Jags as being like a sneaky playoff contender. Some people, including me, in like a weak division. Urban Meyer was a really bad coach at the pro level. I'm sorry for rambling, but I just think Daboll has I see people using it against Daboll, him not having like 10 wins or whatever. Peterson also didn't have 10 wins. And I mean, I truly do think that those were the two most impressive coaching jobs this year.
But at the same time, I don't know. Yeah, I think Shanahan was also up there. I think Shanahan.
Yeah,
I think Shanahan is right there with Doug Peterson because yes, Brock Purdy is probably decent and it was a steal at last pick of the draft, but at the same time to be able to do that with such a
Yeah, and I think people talk about like the Jaguars term, but the Niners started out 3-4 and they went undefeated to finish the year, which is very impressive.
Yeah, but moving on then, because we haven't talked to NBA in a while, I feel like we deserve to show the NBA some love. Are the Kings contenders, man? Because they've been damn fucking good recently. What are they, the third in the Western Conference?
Yeah, I believe they're third in the Western Conference. They have like 25 wins, I think.
They're 25-18. I mean, it's just great to see, they're kind of fucking annoying, but I acted the same way when the Knicks, finally started to get half decent again when we made the playoffs. So I understand. And but third seed is huge, even though we're not at the All-Star break yet. There's a chance they fall off. We're already past the midpoint. So, I mean, I don't know if they're contenders, but, they might really be in the future, De'Aaron Fox. Like I said this in an earlier episode, that trade for Sabonis and Halliburton was really a win-win for both franchises. So, I mean, I'm really excited what they see in the future. I know, Josh, you're dying to say something about this, so.
I'm kind of surprised how well the dynamic between Sabonis and Fox has worked.
Yeah.
Mainly because I expected it to work because, Sabonis is a great passing big and Fox is, a very explosive slasher. But they've worked so damn well with each other that I didn't expect them to be as good as they are this season. They did, they were in some, ESPN show, I think, both of them.
Yeah, they were breaking down their offense. That was great stuff.
And it kind of goes to show how well, not only that they complement each other, but how well it is to stop the two of them, and like
Yeah,
not
let's
only that, but
Kevin Herter.
their entire supporting cast is
Exactly.
also
Kevin Herter's
pretty
been
good.
balling the fuck out this season, and it's
Yeah,
really nice to see.
the Kings have done a great job surrounding them with talent that really
Maximizes their potential.
succeed. The Kevin Herter trade has been huge for them. They
Shout out
also
Rashawn
they also
Holmes.
picked up Malik Monk in the offseason.
Shout out
He's been
Malik Monk.
a solid offset for them.
Shout out Keegan Murray.
Also
man.
Harrison Barnes.
Shout out Harrison Barnes.
And
Shout
Keegan
out all
Murray.
them niggas,
Yeah.
man.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I kind of underestimated the Kings because
I feel like
I
everybody
thought
did.
they would be solid, but I'm gonna be honest. I was one of those people that thought that people who were calling the Sabonis Halliburton trade a win-win were overthinking it a little bit.
I mean, I think
But
I was.
mean, it really was, and I mean, at this point, I think you could make the argument. I think both teams would do the trade over again, but I think you can make the argument that like maybe it was like an A trade for the Pacers and like an A plus trade for the.
I don't know about that because even with Sabonis, what were the Pacers going to do? Halliburton gives them a pretty good
Yeah.
floor manager with future. So
I mean, I definitely think it was a win-win. But yeah, I mean, Sabonis, he's one of the best passing bigs in the league. He's having his best year yet.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
On the Kings, he's been definitely. He's a great rebounder, a great passer. He in small volume, but he has been shooting better, which is important when you play when you play with Fox. And Fox has been like maybe the best clutch player in the league this year.
Yeah, I think he's. Yeah, there was ranking. It's a bit arbitrary, but they said it was arbitrary, but you had a couple stats, but it was somewhat narrative based as well. But I believe, yeah, he was number one in that stat. But I'm talking about their next opponent tonight. Well, yesterday when it comes out, the pod comes out. The Thunder, man. What are they? The 10th. So they're currently in a play-in spot without Chet, and they still have a fuck ton of picks, man. I really hated on the process before because their friends is always so annoying. But damn, man, like, are they really this far ahead of schedule already? Because if they make the play-in, you add Chet next season, and then you add another lottery pick. Because let's the picks they have. Let's see the picks they have. Thunder, and this just goes to show the amount. Like, I know with the NFL, it's like you can tell it's a new age of the NBA and evolution in the sport, which is really, really nice to see. You know. I mean, yeah, and their draft picks. So this year they have the Clippers' first round pick, which probably won't be a lottery pick, and their own first round pick, which may be a lottery pick. Moving on, you have Utah's pick next year. Probably will be a lottery pick. Houston's lottery pick next year. The Clippers' lottery pick next year, first round pick, which might be a lottery pick, and their own first round pick. Then moving in 2025, you have Philly's first round pick, Houston's first round pick. It's either Houston or the Clippers pick. I'm not sure how that works out. And then Miami's first round pick, and then their own first round pick. And then in 2026, they have their own first round pick, Houston's first round pick, and the Clippers' first round pick. Like, that's,
yeah, they have so many fucking picks.
like, Jesus Christ, man. The amount of roster flexibility they have with the young guys who are playing pretty good on small contracts, so they're still on their rookie contracts, or they're still on proven contracts. The Thunder might become a force to reckon with soon if they really play their hands right. But at the same time, they might do too much or too little and fuck themselves up. So it's going to be really interesting to see where they go, because you've always heard of the future. Oh, the Thunder have so many picks. But you're like, what are they going to do with it? And now we're actually going to start to see what they're going to do with it. You know, they took Jalen Williams this year. They got Chet. Jalen's been balling out. But it's going to be really exciting to see what the Thunder do soon.
Yeah, and I mean, I think the main thing that people had that people were kind of concerned with the Thunder just stockpiling picks was that, I mean, they always had Shea, and I mean, I was high on Shea. I thought he was a really good player, but I mean, at this point, like, Shea has really cemented himself as like a future superstar in the league, which I didn't know if Shea would become truly a superstar. I always thought he was going to be like an all-star caliber player, but and I mean, if you don't have like a player that, like, I mean, at this point, I think Shea could be like a number one on like a championship team in the future. I wasn't like 100% sure about that like prior, And like they're starting to get a lot of like great supporting pieces. Like Josh Giddey has become a really good point guard. Jalen Williams has been a really good for them. Kind of a steal in the draft. They still have Dort, and they'll have Chet next year, assuming he's healthy. So I mean, they're starting to just really get like a good young core in place, and they have picks that they can trade if a player becomes available, or they can just continue to try to draft well.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, they just have an insane team, man. I was really high on Shea ever since he got drafted, actually. So I'm like the OG guy.
I mean, I was always high on Shea, and I thought like, I guess I just didn't like.
I don't think anyone really expected him to be this good.
I didn't think it was impossible, but I just didn't think it was a sure thing that he would become because Shea is a superstar at this point.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
Like, or at least like it depends on your definition of a superstar, but he is a future like superstar. Like he's gonna make multiple numerous All NBA teams in his career. I think. I just wasn't 100% sure that he'd necessarily become like a player that I guess. But I mean, I always thought he was a really good player.
I mean, but moving like the East is pretty much really how we expected it, you know. Besides the Bulls, the Bulls probably falling behind in the Raptors out of a play-in spot. Besides that, like the top 6 was pretty much predicted. But the Western Conference, man. So you have the Pelicans in 4th, which I kind of predicted. You have the Jazz in fucking 6th. And then you have the Suns, the Lakers, both out of a play-in spot. And then you have the Warriors, Clippers, and Timberwolves all hanging on to a play-in spot. It's just like the parity in the Western. I hate saying the word parity so much, but god damn, the Western Conference is insane.
Yeah,
what the hell?
It's so unpredictable.
Like imagine a playoffs without the Lakers, Suns. There's a universe where we have a playoff without the Lakers, Suns, Warriors, and Clippers. Like imagine telling somebody that last
year. A lot
year.
of those teams have had injuries, so I'd expect especially the Suns have been devastated by injuries. You know, Booker's like the notable one, but just up and down the roster. But I mean, the Suns, you look at the Suns, and they were kind of the staple of the West the last 2 years, in the regular season at least. This year, I mean, even when they get healthy, obviously Booker is a big piece to get back. But CP3 starting to show a little bit of rust, and obviously they had a lot of dysfunction this past offseason. So, I mean, obviously they're a little bit of a question mark. The Jazz, I mean, they are the 6th seed right now, but they're only 500, and teams can easily climb them, especially if if they start to show a little bit of regression, whether that's just Lowry coming back down to earth or whatever. But the Jazz rebuild is low-key insane. People talk about the Thunder right now, but the Jazz essentially kind of did, obviously they don't have as much picks, but they kind of did what the Thunder did in 1 year. And obviously they had really good pieces, but so did the Thunder initially. But and Walker Kessler has basically replaced Rudy Gobert's production perfectly.
Exactly, which is fucking hilarious. Of course it was a white clean cut guy. The racism is just, the racists are just fucking dancing, happy and giddy.
Yeah, I think they're just so ahead of schedule. It's kind of weird. And also, just Lauri Markkanen is just, he's having some of the craziest, comeback seasons I've seen in recent memory. I'll remember, a young player that, I guess,
this is it's kind of weird. I didn't mean to interrupt, but this is kind of because I remember people were saying when he went to Cleveland, which he was solid on Cleveland, improved on defense and in a bunch of areas and was valuable to them. But this is and Cleveland was a good situation to be in last year. But this was just kind of his second change of scenery, and it just all clicked. Everything, it was kind of Lauri Markkanen was never a bad player, but like he was just kind of like people thought that he had like something else in him that he just never reached, and then just like all of a sudden, just out of the blue, it just kind of all clicked for him.
Yeah, but all right. So I think this is where I want to end pod this week. When will LeBron break Kareem's record, stolen straight from the NBA's headline? So, I mean, they said what today is, yeah, the projected date is the 9th of what, 9th of February, and they said he needs about 11 games and he needs 284 points to break the record. So, at his career scoring average, this is straight from ESPN. Love you, ESPN. He needs his career scoring average is 27.2 per game. He would need about 11 games to break the mark, putting him on track to do it against the Bucks. But he's been scoring 29.8 per game this season, so he'd break it in 10 games against the Thunder. But again, since turning 38 on his birthday on the 30th, December 30th, he's been averaging 36.4. So, and if he maintains that, he would only need 8 games to break that against the Pacers.
I think the big deciding factor is going to be when Anthony Davis comes back.
Exactly. Same thing. Plus, they have 2 back-to-back shots.
Hasn't he been averaging like 35 points since he's gotten hurt?
Yeah,
he's been insane.
So I mean, it's gonna happen this year unless something or like something like he gets hurt or something. But I mean, at the pace that he's playing at right now, it could happen really soon. He already passed him if you include playoff points. So.
Oh yeah, I mean, but I feel like that's a bit Mickey.
I feel like in that sense, yeah, it's a bit Mickey, but
yeah. I mean, I was just saying. But.
Yeah, I mean, I want to, because they said AD is going to come back as soon as early next week. But how fast are they going to throw AD? So I think give me 9 games. 9 games would give him, let me see, Lakers schedule. 9 games.
We need to have to average like 30 points a game, I think. Which I think
so I see him breaking in on February 4th against the Pelicans. And if not, then against the Thunder. But if I had to bet on a day, give me versus the Pelicans.
Yeah, probably. I'd say like 9 to 12 games is a good range for when he's going to break it. Yeah. It's just, I think that's fair.
Yeah, but it's gonna be exciting to see. I am finally starting to learn how to enjoy LeBron's greatness after being a hater for many, many years.
I mean, who hasn't been haters at one point?
Yeah, I mean, I just have to see him play live once somehow before he retires because he's insane, man. But I think that's gonna be the end of the pod this week. Thank you guys so much for coming out. Love you all, guys. It's 20 fucking episodes. Here's to 20 more bitches in your life, 20 more A's throughout the rest of your high school and college careers, 20 more dollars in your bank account every time you look at a girl you love or a man you love or a non-binary person you love, guys. Have a great rest of your day, guys. Let's go fucking Giants, and Mitt Romney is gonna burn in hell. Later.